took me 15 years to swallow all my tears among...
Alright, this is going to be a demonstration of my TNT cannon. It is a self-loading TNT cannon. This particular one has 7 shots.
Everyone's in the employ of these holy men.
And it has to be loaded in the exact fashion that it's loaded in now when you reload it after it's 7 shots. 2 sand, then TNT, then 3 sand TNT, 3 sand TNT, 3 sand TNT for the rest of it. Same on this side, 2 sand gap here, and then TNT, 3, TNT, 3, TNT, 3, all the way down. Must be loaded like that. If it's any closer, the explosion will catch it and make it go off. If it's any farther apart, it's too much sand for the machine to handle and it gets jammed. This is based off of a actual firearm in the way that it loads and everything like that. Dry firing will break it, so don't do test runs without it being loaded. Got a nice target right over there, and we're going to see if we can't hit it for you. As you can see, it reloads itself. This light comes on, letting you know it's ready to fire again. So we go ahead and fire. We had a bit of lag over here, obviously. It hit the target dead on. Once again, hit the target dead on. Cycles through and reloads itself. Light comes on, saying, hey, it's ready to fire again. So we go ahead and fire it, watch it go off. Light turns off after it's fired. Wait till it turns back on before we can fire again. And boom, we fire. Don't have to delay at all. As soon as the light turns back on, it is automatically ready to fire again. Go ahead and show you guys the workings behind this. Now I know there is most likely a much easier way to do this with redstone. The way that I do things I know is very unconventional, and I don't really care because it always works for me. The way we have this going is when we press the button, circuit comes over here to light that TNT right away, then it goes down to this timer. And this timer is set on a delay to go up here and lift these pistons up so blocks can be pushed through. And then it comes into here, which I'm sure there's a technical term for it. I just call it a pulse shortener. Takes the push of a button and, in this case, cycles it down to 5/10 of a second, half of a second pulse. Half of a second pulse comes into this relay, which will circle it around, which is what tells these pistons to go. And they go in order from there to there to there. And this will cycle 4 times before this timer goes off, cutting off this circuit and not letting it go again. And this back here is a loop to make sure that this stays open long enough to catch the circuit. In case there's a bit of server lag or something like that, it'll stay open long enough to make sure the circuit doesn't go through. And then this timer back here shuts off this circuit, which also shuts itself off. Now up here, I'll show you the works here. Comes down to the bottom one first, does the same thing on the other side. And then this timer brings it up to this one, and then this one last. Real nice and simple. Over on the other side, it does the exact same thing, down to this one first, then this one, and then a longer timer set to go to this one. In the middle here, we have these pistons which lift up. And as you can see, it holds themselves up with this little loop right here keeping it on. And then when this timer turns this one off, it also comes up and turns this one off to put them back down. This one right here, this piston that gets lifted, is also what controls our light. So it's when the piston goes back down in place that the light is ready to fire again, because the TNT is going to be in place by that point. Now the sand is pretty much the cartridges and the TNT is the bullet. to dispose of our cartridges, we have torches underneath that will break the sand. Also have the torches situated under this side as well. I recommend leaving yourself access to get down here if you're not just playing around with this on creative. Otherwise you will get a lot of sand in there, and if you're just firing it and loading it too many times, it may end up causing a lot of lag with all those blocks. If you have access, then you can just go right through it. Originally came up with this idea just earlier this evening. Building it the first time took me 15, maybe 20 minutes at the most. Then reconstructing it probably took me about 3.5 hours because I just kept missing tiny little things that I put in the first time. Answer the question in the stream. And that's pretty much how the entire device works. The timing for the front block is set up on the same loot that opens the pistons on this side to drop the sand on the torches. The reason that dropping the sand on the torches is important is because when you pull those up, the water comes out as well, since there won't be any TNT cutting the water off. So if you don't have it release the piston separately, then water will just sweep away the torches and you'll get backed up on sand. It's also the reason it's very important not to dry fire it, is because without TNT being pushed forward, it'll just be pushing 4 straight blocks of sand. So the 4th block that gets pushed out will be sand and it won't fire or anything, and if it pushes again, there will be too many blocks in there and it'll just jam up the whole thing and the pistons will push stuff in the wrong places. So we'll go ahead and fire off our last couple shots, just so you can see it can go through the full 7 without a problem, continuously reloading itself. You can of course adjust the timing on the front one if you want. With these repeaters that are here, you can make it longer or shorter to determine how far away the TNT is before it blows up. Now, unlike most TNT cannons I've seen, I have these glass panels here, which acts pretty much as an extended barrel. It makes sure that the TNT goes perfectly straight forward. There is no side-to-side variance. It will land in the same space that it leaves in as far as this block goes. Now, it's still going to be higher or lower depending on the random factors. You can't perfectly control an explosion, but this one you can get to go along a perfect line. And that was our last of 7 shots. Hope you guys enjoyed the little demonstration of my semi-automatic TNT cannon. I'm going to go ahead and posting a link up for a download so you can grab this yourself. I've got the spawn point for the map set to right here. And I hope you guys enjoy.